Why is everything from your Starbucks drink to your popcorn now enhanced with extra protein? Where did this protein obsession come from? And what in the world is going on? I'm Sammi Cohen, and this is Social Currency, a podcast that unpacks the stories that are shaping business, culture, and the intersection of the two. Welcome back to Social Currency. Today, we're diving deep into the biggest food story of 2025. It's the protein revolution that's reshaping everything from our grocery aisles to our social media feeds. Right now, as I'm recording this, there is a cottage cheese shortage happening across America. And Starbucks just announced the launch of an entire line of protein lattes and cold foams. According to new research from Cargill, 61% of Americans increased their protein intake in 2024 alone. Now, this isn't just about some gym bros who take protein powder to become extra jacked. What we're witnessing is a fundamental shift in how Americans think about food, and protein has now become the undisputed king of macronutrients. So let's unpack what's driving this change across the entire food industry and what it means for the future of food. Let's start with some jaw-dropping statistics that really illustrate the scale of this trend. Cargill's 2025 protein profile found that 61% of Americans increased their protein intake last year, up dramatically from just 48% in 2019. That's a 13 percentage point jump in just 5 years. But here's what's really telling. 57% of people who read nutrition labels are now actively checking for protein content. And the cottage cheese comeback perfectly illustrates the shift. Cottage cheese sales jumped 20% in the 52 weeks through June 2025, following increases of roughly 17% in both 2024 and 2023. Some brands like Good Culture, which is actually my favorite brand of cottage cheese, and Organic Valley are seeing growth rates of over 30%, with pretty much every major cottage cheese brand saying their cottage cheese is selling faster than they can make it. Meanwhile, Starbucks is betting big on this trend as well. They're launching protein cold foams and lattes that deliver 15 to 36 grams of protein per grande beverage. And here's the kicker. This comes as cold foam usage has grown 23% year over year and is now used in 1 out of every 7 beverages at Starbucks. People not only want to consume more protein in their food, but they're trying to jam it into their morning coffee too. But perhaps the most telling statistic comes from the food industry itself. According to Mintel Research, 8.3% of new food product launches in the first quarter of 2025 made some kind of protein claim, up from 6.1% in 2024 and just 4.6% in 2023. Companies are literally racing to put protein into everything, from pancakes to pasta to even pizza. This really is not a fad. And when you see consistent double-digit growth across multiple categories for multiple years, you're looking at a fundamental behavioral shift. Let's get into the why. This protein obsession is actually a perfect storm of cultural, medical, and social factors converging at once. First, let's talk about the medical revolution that's happening with GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy. These appetite-suppressing medications are creating a new category of consumers who need nutrient-dense foods in smaller portions. Chobani's competitor, Danone, has specifically noted increased sales as consumers on these medications look to fill nutritional gaps with high protein options. But the health factor goes deeper than weight loss drugs. NPR's recent reporting highlighted something fascinating about protein's reputation. It's the only macronutrient that has never been villainized. Think about it. We've had low-fat crazes in the 90s, low-carb movements in the 2000s, but protein has maintained what food experts call a health halo. And social media is absolutely accelerating this health halo. TikTok has turned cottage cheese into a viral sensation, with creators making everything from ice cream to bagels with it. And when you have 52% of people trying new foods based on social media trends, platforms like TikTok become powerful drivers of food trends. Cottage cheese is a way to pack protein into so many different types of foods, and its flavor can be hidden relatively easily. And this demand surge has triggered an innovation arms race across the food industry, and the results are wild. Celebrities are jumping in headfirst. You have Khloe Kardashian, who launched cloud protein popcorn, describing it as the perfect combination of a tasty snack and a boost of protein. You have Zac Efron, who is promoting protein rich oatmeal with a brand called Kodiak Cakes. And so many other celebrities are putting their names on different types of protein snacks. So you know this trend has serious mainstream appeal now. But the real innovation is happening in unexpected places. Companies are adding protein to mousses, desserts, granola, and once again, even the occasional pizza. And what's super interesting is that there are actually rules around how companies can describe the protein level in their products. And I had no idea about this before doing the research for this episode. But in order to legally claim that a protein is high in protein, it needs to derive at least 20% of its energy value from protein. And to be a source of protein, that number is 12%. So companies are hitting these thresholds by adding protein-rich ingredients in or by making products more dense through water removal. And the cottage cheese story that I keep coming back to is particularly fascinating because it shows how companies are racing to keep up with demand. And this has triggered massive infrastructure investments. Earlier this year, Chobani announced a $1.2 billion facility in New York. And this is their largest investment ever, capable of producing over 1 billion pounds of dairy products annually. And the facility will process 12 million pounds of milk per day. So, what we're really witnessing is a fundamental cultural shift in how Americans think about food and nutrition. Gen Z and millennials are leading this charge, embracing what researchers call high protein lifestyles. They're not just eating protein at meals, they're seeking it out in snacks, drinks, and even desserts. For these generations, protein has become vital beyond traditional meals, with on the go formats like protein bars, shakes, and handheld foods becoming must haves. And the portion control aspect is crucial too. With GLP-1 users seeking smaller, high-protein meals that satisfy without excess calories, we're seeing a shift towards quality over quantity. People want foods that deliver maximum nutritional value in smaller packages. So, where does this trend go from here? The infrastructure investments alone suggest that this is not going to slow down anytime soon. Industry experts believe we're just at the beginning. John Crawford from the market research firm Circana said it best. It is not a fad when you're seeing double-digit growth in both dollars and in volume quarter over quarter for 2 years. The supply chain is racing to catch up. New production facilities, expanded manufacturing capacity, and innovative delivery methods are all coming online. But demand is still outpacing supply in many categories. Looking ahead, expect to see protein integration become even more sophisticated. We'll likely see more premium protein products, better taste profiles, and integration into categories we haven't even thought of yet. The social media influence will continue driving experimentation, especially among younger consumers who are comfortable with these bold flavors and creative preparation methods and trying out new foods. Here's what I find the most interesting, though, about this whole protein revolution. It's not being driven by any single factor. It's the convergence of health consciousness, GLP-1s, social media culture, and changing lifestyle needs all happening at once. Whether you're reaching for that protein-enhanced coffee at Starbucks, trying cottage cheese ice cream from TikTok, or just reading labels more carefully at your grocery store, you're participating in one of the biggest food trends of our time. The protein revolution is real, it's accelerating, and it's reshaping how America eats. The question isn't whether this trend will continue, it's how far it will go and what it will transform next. But like any other food hyperfixation that sweeps across culture, the pendulum will always swing eventually. So this protein obsession will be here until there is a focus on the next thing. But given the factors that are influencing this current food obsession, my prediction is that this one will be around for minimum the next 2 to 3 years. And that is it for today's deep dive on America's protein obsession. If you enjoyed this deep dive into all things protein, make sure to subscribe and share this episode with someone who may be helping to keep cottage cheese out of stock by buying it at every chance that they get. And as always, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or any one of my social channels to let me know what you think of today's episode. See you next time. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Social Currency. I've been wanting to launch this show for so long. I can't tell you how excited I am to do this and how thrilled I am that you're actually here listening. It means the world to me. If you liked what you heard today, please rate and review the podcast because it massively helps to support the work I do to bring the show to life. And if you want to keep up with the hottest business lore in real time, follow me on Instagram at Sammi Cohen Talks and subscribe to my newsletter, Social Currency, which is linked in the show notes. Social Currency is a production of Social Currency Media and Money News Network. The podcast is hosted and executive produced by me, Sammi Cohen. Social Currency is produced by the Money News Network team. See you next time.